In this video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to use the beautiful new John Next Door ribbon tags and the ribbon tag sentiments. These have been designed so that obviously you can use them as they are on a card or a project. So you've got standard sort of large sentiments with special wishes sent with love, happy birthday because you are special. Then you've got some little poems, things like with warmest wishes, here's a note to say, whatever you do, have a wonderful day. So little meaningful ones you can put on there. So they can be used exactly on a card, but they've also been designed to fit with the new John Next Door ribbon tag dies, so that you can actually add a sentiment onto a project or to a card. And this is great for adding for something like an embossing folder card, or something where you've created a beautiful background and you don't want to spoil it by adding big pieces on, or you don't know where or how to add a sentiment. So here's a sort of selection of them done, and they've all been fitted with a 10mm ribbon. But obviously larger ribbon will work, it will just bunch around there. So to show you the dies and the stamps, you get the stamp set here, which shows you all of the different words. It's an A6 stamp set, and they've been sized so that these beautiful circular ones will fit and cut out perfectly with the matching dies. So you get the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dies in the set, which match together perfectly with the sentiments or with other sentiments you may have in your stash. So what I'm going to do is going to make quite a simple card using this, and just use a neat little trick that I do quite a lot with an embossing folder, just to make something simple. So all I've got is, I've got a standard 3D embossing folder. This is a text one. I think this is a Nellie Snellen. And I'm just going to pop that in so that I'm leaving about sort of 20% at the bottom clear and free. And you simply run that as it stands with the card hanging out of your embossing folder through your machine. I'm using my Kaleido, but again, any standard machine will do. So simply run that through, and there we go. We have that beautiful emboss. And I just take a little bit of black ink. So I'm using VersaFine in Onyx Black. And just take a little bit onto a finger dauber, take any excess off into the lid, and just gently rub over, which just brings that text to the forefront. So you could do this with any pattern or embossing folder, but it's really useful this for making a very quick card. So we take that all over just like that, and there we get that text. Obviously you can't tell what it says, but it's the texture that it adds to it. So I've got a piece here that I've already done. Quite simple. I've just mounted this on some foam tape to make adding the ribbon tag a little bit easier. And then what I'm going to do is I'm now going to stamp and cut one of the ribbon tags. So obviously I'm using my press to impress. I'll just open that up, and I've got a little piece square here of card. So I'm going to try, we'll do a circular one to start with. So I'm going to go with happy birthday and just leave enough space around it. So obviously you're going to be able to put a die on, so don't get it up in the corner. Leave it a little bit of space there, and I think we'll actually do one of the longer sentiments as well. So again, make sure you leave enough space around that. We pick that up with our lid, and then we simply use, again, our black VersaFine ink. You want to use a VersaFine as opposed to a VersaFine Clear or a pigment ink, because with those you do have to wait for them to dry before you can run them through the die cutting machine. I would still, even with VersaFine, give it a minute or two to dry. But we're just going to put that down. And this is the fantastic thing about using the press to impress. If you don't feel it's dark enough, you've not got the good enough impression, we can go back in, re-ink the stamp, and press it down again to darken the pattern. And just make sure, something I'm terrible with, that you actually put your stamps back afterwards. I end up with them all over the place, certainly sentiments. So there we have our beautiful sentiments stamped. So we could, of course, just use that. We could have stamped that across the bottom. But this adds another layer of interest. So I'm going to bring in the dies. I'm going to take the large circle die, and simply, if you can see, the flowers have been arranged so that the top and bottom just touch the outside of the die, so you can easily see where to place that. I'm going to use some of the craft artist tape just to glue that down to make sure it doesn't move. Then I'm going to take one of the larger tags, and again, just frame it, and you'll see the sentiments have been sized to fit exactly within that. And again, I'm just going to tape that down, and we'll run that through our die cutting machine to cut that. And when they come out, you'll get the two beautiful little tags. Now, to attach your ribbon on, I've got here some 10mm ribbon, which just fits exactly. And you can simply wrap this around your card. So we'll take our piece. We could wrap this around our card where we want to, and then simply click in our sentiment. But I find the easiest way to do it is to add a little bit of power tape onto the back, just to secure it on the ribbon. I'm then going to place the ribbon on nice and straight, following the lines. So put that on and glue down. You see, I'm following the lines of the actual tags. We then turn that over and click our ribbon through. So much easier than trying to thread it. I'm going to turn that back over, and I'm going to add a little bit of foam tape to the back. So I'm actually going to add 2 pieces for this one, so that the ribbon's nicely covered. And we simply take that off, and we can attach that to our card wherever I want to. So I'm going to pop that just here where that sort of border is, across there, turn it over to the back, reveal our foam tape, and connect our ribbon down. So I'll bring this a little bit more forward so you can see. So I'm going to pull it to that piece there, make sure it's nice and straight, and then chop that off. And we can then make sure we just gently arrange the ribbon so that it runs straight. And we've got our ribbon strip across. And I've cut a card blank here. This is just 7 by 5. And I've added a matting layer on at 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 to give me that little matting layer. And here I've just got some little flowers cut using the spring wreath die, so the little flowers set in the spring wreath die. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue down on my mat, far easier to do. Grab a pair of tweezers, because I find this far easier. And then I can just pick up the flowers and pop sort of like their bums into the glue, which just means they're glued just right. So we're just going to pop a little collection of flowers around that. And we've made something very, very simple, very clean and elegant. Great if you want to send sort of just a thinking of you card or something like that. But nice and simple, and we're not affecting the embossing at all. And for the circle one, I'm going to do exactly the same with the circle. So again, I'm going to turn that one over. I'm just going to, again, find the end of my power tape. It does this to me every time. So add a little bit of power tape. You can add a wet glue if you want, but obviously we're looking for instant grab. So we'll just take the power tape there, take that off, grab our piece of ribbon, and again, pop it straight against those lines, turn it over, and click it through. And this time, we're going to flat adhere it. So again, I'm just going to add a little bit of power tape across the back like that. Take our tape off, and again, bring in our panel. And I'm going to go, this time I can go really nicely in the center. So get that right in the center on the embossing, which is what's so good about using these tags. Then turn that over. This time I don't have power tape or any tape on there. So I'm simply going to pull my ribbon to make it taut and take a little piece of sellotape and stick that down. Do exactly the same with the other side. So we just trim off the excess again. Do exactly the same with the other side. And just sellotape that down. Remove the excess. And then we check on the front to make sure that that's running nice and straight. And we're doing exactly the same again. So we're just taking that, and I'm just going to take a little card blank that's 6 by 6. So I'm going to cut that down to 6 by 4, which will fit exactly. So just go straight onto the front. So again, a little bit of glue all the way around there. And we pop that onto our card front. And these would be great for doing sort of invitations and things as well. And again, just take a few of our little black flowers. And I'm only going to pop 2 on this time. Nice and clean and simple. So very easy to do. Remove our excess glue. Remove your excess glue before it actually starts to get too sticky. And there we show you 2 different sentiments using the same technique to make 2 beautiful cards that are fully sentimented.